I'm Ann Simmons for the Los Angeles Times. As South African liberation icon Nelson Mandela lies in critical condition in a Pretoria hospital, the post-apartheid nation he helped shape continues to collectively hold its breath. Makeshift memorials have sprung up outside the hospital, where the 94-year-old father of the nation was admitted on June 8th. But as the country unites in prayer for Mandela, a family dispute over the burial of Mandela's 3 deceased children continues to fester. Joining me to talk about the mood in South Africa is Times Johannesburg Bureau Chief Robyn Dixon. Welcome, Robyn.
Hello, Anne. How are you?
Good. Tell us first of all, Robyn, what's the mood like in South Africa right now?
And there's been a tremendous outpouring of sadness. There's been a great sense of a nation unified, almost in a bedside vigil for their beloved hero. And the atmosphere at the hospital itself is actually quite electric. There are piles and piles of flowers and very, very moving letters, artworks that ordinary people have just brought to leave by the hospital for Mr. Mandela.
And is Mr. Mandela aware at all of a gathering outside? What is his current condition?
The information about his current condition is that he is still in a critical condition, and he's been in that state for about a week now. The amount of detail has been quite limited, though, actually. His family has, in fact, offered the most detailed information, which is that he is on intravenous drips and receiving oxygen. They have said that there's no sense that he's on life support equipment, and that that this is a very private battle between Mandela and his maker.
And how is the family coping? Obviously, the nation is united in prayer right now. How is the family doing?
I think we've seen some very raw grief from the family. Some of them have felt that the very intense level of international media focus on this hero and his critical health has been almost too much for them. It's almost like a global vigil, the like of which we haven't seen before. And Nelson Mandela's eldest daughter, who's emerging as the matriarch of the family, has in fact described this as too much. She felt that the international media was really behaving like vultures, and she felt quite hurt and upset by the attention.
Well, obviously there's great sadness also for the family, but I understand there's also a controversy surrounding some members of the family. Tell us about that.
It's almost a Shakespearean element to this tragedy. We have the grandson of Nelson Mandela, who was one of Mandela's favourites, Mandelas, who wanted to have the children of Nelson Mandela, the 3 dead children, buried in his own area of control, since he is the chief. And he's alleged to have dug up those bodies and brought them to his own area. Meanwhile, the other faction of the family has taken court action to try and get those bodies back, so that they can be reburied in Kunu, Mr. Mandela's village, and so that he can eventually lie there with them.
And Mr. Mandela, he's such an icon, Robyn, but I understand that he has said he does not want to be treated as a saint or remembered as such. How would he like to be remembered?
He's often said to the people who run the Nelson Mandela Centre of Memory that he's not a saint. And he's urged them to try and find other liberation heroes, because there were very many of them. He didn't like the hagiography. He didn't want to be raised up as an icon or a saint. He wanted to be remembered as an ordinary, humble man. And he often described himself as a sinner who keeps on trying, not as a saint. That was the way he wanted to be remembered.
And what do we know, if anything, about what types of preparations are being made for that sad day when Mr. Mandela does eventually pass?
One of the things about the situation is that in African culture it's not really appropriate to talk about or plan for a death before it happens. However, obviously there have been some plans that have been made. I guess one of the things is that Nelson Mandela himself wanted a very humble kind of ceremony. He certainly didn't want any kind of grand state funeral, so I don't think we can expect that kind of thing to happen. His burial, in fact, will be a very private, dignified, and very small family affair in Punu, and there will not be a large number of foreign dignitaries at that ceremony. However, it's likely that there will be some kind of major event in Johannesburg or Pretoria.
Thank you so much for your insight, Robyn. For more on this and other stories, please go to latimes.com.